Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much, Adrian. I would like to start with a short video showing one very impressed project that we have performed together with the mine company. So maybe we can launch it.
Ollagüe lo caracteriza principalmente ser una comuna andina, estar enclavada a aproximadamente a 4.000 metros de altura, rodeada de volcanes y salares. Ollagüe era un pueblo de día. La energía era hasta las 2 de la mañana y posteriormente Ollagüe quedaba en oscura.
Enel Green Power está desarrollando acá en Ollagüe, en la segunda región de Chile, el proyecto denominado Planta Híbrida Ollagüe, la cual conjuga energías renovables no convencionales como energía fotovoltaica. Son 1.538 paneles fotovoltaicos y una pequeña turbina eólica. Esto también funciona con un respaldo de baterías, las cuales nos permitirán entregar energía al pueblo de forma continua. En paralelo estamos construyendo también 2 generadores Trinum, son paneles solares también en forma de parabólica, las cuales van a dar agua caliente para la escuela de Ollagüe.
La verdad es que esto inicia con todo un programa social que tiene en él, que la sustentabilidad no está solamente en el área tecnológica, sino que también en los aspectos sociales. Es fundamental para nosotros tener la capacitación de las personas de la zona. Es un trabajo que sabemos que va a beneficiar muchísimo a Ollagüe. Enel Green Power ha visto esta necesidad, ha planteado un modelo de energía sustentable, donde obviamente las personas de la comunidad van a estar trabajando directamente. Nos hemos hecho responsables tanto de estas mujeres que viajaron a la India en un programa que se llama Barefoot College.
A pesar de ser un pueblo tan lejano, siempre me gustó aprender mucho más de lo que yo sé. Me arriesgué, corrí el riesgo y nos fuimos a la India. Fuimos a aprender a instalar paneles solares. Enel Green Power está en ese propósito de seguir apoyándonos. Soy de las primeras personas que me gustaría seguir trabajando y aprendiendo mucho más. Tatay mamay yachachiwaq ñuqataqa wayrananpaq kay volcan mana yachakunchu. Y q'uñinanpaqtaq volcanqa sayaygun pataman. Qaq suti Fermina Ramona Paucar. Escuelapi kani kunayña así chunkawata hasta hoy. Entonces qallarini ñuqa yachakani costumbres tradiciones ruwayta. Chaymanta ñuqata invitawarqanku director, profesores, chanta ñuqaqa wawasta yachachini.
La distancia es complicada y la altura también. Es complicado estar lejos. Los jóvenes, ellos normalmente tienen trabajos, tienen inquietudes, tienen la posibilidad de entrar a internet, pero con la energía limitada, ellos no podían hacer siempre eso. Entonces ahora tenemos la posibilidad de estar trabajando todo el día. Vamos a tener las 24 horas, agua caliente, y eso me facilita el trabajo.
Tata inti y mamamuyo paikuna anchata apampancha kaiman. Tukuytuta. Una agradecición chay runakunasta Ollagüeman chamunanpaq.
Okay, this is so 24/7 access to electricity has changed dramatically the local economy of Ollagüe. Now, for the first time in their lives, they can buy an ice cream in the convenience store, and they have access to internet. This project was co-financed by Freeport Mining Company, and we can say that the global transition to renewables has started in Ollagüe for us. So this is one of our flagship projects. We will come back later to the details of that initiative, but trying to maybe make a wrap-up of yesterday's presentations regarding this trend about renewables globally. Just let's see how all the efforts are going in the same direction. So policymakers, governments, we have more than 110 parties that have ratified the COP21 Paris Agreement. 100 countries accounting for that impressive 58% of the global emissions are planning a kind of carbon price of equivalence, so very important for mining sector. A lot of commercial and industrial private companies are engaged in this commitment with renewables. We have these chambers, associations, sustainability association like RE100, increasing the number of companies committing to 100% of renewables, and we are facing an increased interest in the private PPA sector as well. Regarding our sector as developers, IPP, and manufacturers, the renewable sector, as it was mentioned yesterday, we are at record levels regarding installed capacity and impressive cost reduction, mainly in PV and also in wind. And last year we saw the lowest price ever in some of the regulated auctions that have been launched in Dubai, Chile, Mexico, also Argentina. But also we have to pay attention to the investors. So we've seen last year some movement, for example, the Norwegian Sovereign Wealth Fund announcing the divestment in some of their oil and gas assets. A lot of global investors are shifting their capital away from carbon assets to clean assets. So this is more than a trend. The capital spending in the oil and gas sector has dropped a lot, and some incumbents are facing a real stranded asset risk in the future, mainly oil and gas and also coal thermal plants, for example. But apart from the policies, etc., I think that the real driver of the global transition is the reduction in cost. So this is the main driver, and it's more a deep change in the global economy regarding this low carbon trend that are fashion wave. Okay, I'm not going to spend a lot of time with these numbers. Yesterday we saw the trends, the impressive installed capacity increase in wind and PV, the forecast for the future regarding that 2 degrees target are also impressive, and also the batteries price trend is very promising. So what we are doing in Enel Green Power, we are leading that transition within Enel Group. We are a global player. We have more than 11 gigawatts of installed capacity, mainly wind, also PV, geothermal, and hydro. Now Enel Green Power is in charge of also the large hydro portfolio of Enel, accounting up to 36 gigawatts of installed capacity. And it has been a really fast transformation. In 2010, we were in 16 countries, mainly Europe with those fixed tariff or feed-in premium schemes. Also in the United States and Canada and some countries in South America with competitive mechanisms, private PPAs, tenders. But now the picture for 2016 is different. Okay, this is like that. No. Okay, let's see. We are, okay. Oh, well, we are in more than 50 countries now. And we have seen a tremendous increase in the regulated auction activity by the governments. And now we are facing a break-even, I think, because with this increasing interest of the private companies for PPAs, maybe we are going to see in the following years a more balanced situation between that installed capacity coming from new regulated auctions and that coming from the private PPAs. So, of course, we are focused on the mature technologies. We keep pushing for utility-scale big plants all over the world, but we are also focused on testing innovative solutions. As we saw yesterday in the Deloitte presentation, we have to think big for the strategy and test small. So that is our approach. We are testing also small innovative solution, and we expect to deploy bigger installations in order to answer those requests coming from industrial sectors like your sector, leveraging in this experience that we are going to comment in a minute. Regarding private PPAs, we are pretty active, so mainly in the United States, Mexico, Chile, but now we are opening that activity also in the rest of the world. So we are pretty active in Morocco, South Africa, India, some European countries in which we expect that this private PPA activity is going to boom, and also Australia, and of course scouting some other opportunities. Regarding this testing field, we are pretty sure that we have to test storage in advance. So even though the costs are not still disruptive, let's say, we have to be prepared in order to deploy those applications quickly when the learning curve is more favorable. So we have a lot of pilot projects with different technologies, and we're testing control system, SCADA, power electronics in order to be able to manage the intermittency and to assure 24/7 reliable supply. We are testing in little rural areas. Also, we have some pilot projects regarding the retail distributed generation in South Africa. We are testing also grid applications for storage. We are entering the very interesting project right now. And mainly, our focus is to test technology, but also to test internally and to develop internally those skills and those systems in order to optimize the performance. So let's come back to this Oyawe microgrid. This is wind, solar, batteries, and diesel backup. It's a microgrid. And we are able to manage all these facilities remotely from our big control center in Santiago, from which we are operating right now the big assets, our big wind farms and PV plants and our geothermal plant in Atacama Desert. And we are able to provide electricity from the battery during a lot of hours in the night. So remember that formerly they didn't have electricity at night. And we are implementing a lot of new tools for this Oyawe project based on the experience in, for example, forecasting that we have in our European markets, in which we have been forecasting and bidding into the spot market since 2004. So we have meteorological forecast, also nowcast, so short-term forecast. We are applying all those different models, neural networks, so we have pretty skilled people working and focused on these kind of forecast models. We are also trying to develop a structured process in order to right-size the equipment and have this modular approach in order to be able to accommodate the demand increase. In Oyawe, thanks to this 24/7 electricity supply, the demand of the town itself has increased incredibly. And we are also putting in place our experience in the smart metering side. And we are deploying a payment system by the smartphone. So we are mixing a lot of different technologies, different control systems, and this is not only, it's not a project enclosed in the Oyawe town. This is a testing field in order to deploy this knowledge elsewhere. Apart from this microgrid testing field with batteries, solar, wind, etc., and diesel backup, we are pretty sure that we have to put our efforts in PV efficiency. So, okay, the cost has dropped down incredibly, but maybe wind has improved the efficiency of the wind turbines more than PV modules. So we are involved in this other project. This is a PV plant in order to supply electricity to a big telescope in the north of Chile, in which we are saying different model technologies. So with this cell optimizer replacing the diodes. And we are also testing these bifacial modules, so they are able to capture part of the radiation reflected on the ground, so we can increase a little bit the efficiency. And we are testing 3 different technologies in the same plant, the little plant. So our engineering department is pretty focused on the performance of this plant that is operating since March, I guess, or since April. Okay, so this is the way we face this renewable transformation in the Enel Group. So we are focused on our utility scale plants, but we are also testing those tools that in the next future are going to make feasible these off-grid applications also for the industrial sector, for example, for the mining sector. But let's talk about partnerships. What is our idea of how to proceed with a mining company, how to understand their needs, and how to balance the efforts in order to make those renewable supplies feasible? Of course, we have to understand each other, but also we have to take into account the local context. So as we saw yesterday in some of the panels, policies and regulatory frameworks are very important in order to deploy these solutions. And we have a wide range of possibilities. So it's key to understand the supply strategy of the mine, and it's key to understand the willingness of entering the equity or not, and it's key to see if it's better to talk about a short-term solution, green certificate trading, or we can negotiate a long-term PPA. So at the end, there is no rule of thumb. We have to build tailored solutions. And in order to do that, talking about how to structure and price these kind of agreements or PPAs, we have different cases. So at the end, as we saw yesterday, the deal drivers are clear for everyone. So avoided diesel, carbon tax, share value activities with the communities, sustainability targets, and of course, always with a reliable supply, hedging the fuel price volatility. Also, when we're talking about on-grid mines, in which we can have this on-site, off-grid, or net matter plant, or a pure off-site PPA, we have to benchmark towards the regulated tariff or the spot market. So that alternative price that the mine can take from the market. So we have to compete with that. And of course, we have to be able to provide a discount. But of course, we face some challenges in the structuring, mainly the bankability of the projects. So the term of the PPA compared with the mine life, how to define the curtailments to provide enough comfort to the mine regarding that flexibility in the operations, termination clauses, insolvency events, warranties. So these are the real cornerstones in the negotiation. Regarding PPA structure, we are pretty flexible. So in Enel, we have a lot of experience with different structures, mainly in the United States and Mexico. There are the more advanced countries in this PPA segment. So we are open to discuss new structure with the mining sector because at the end, each mining company has different risk profile, different risk aversion. So we have to negotiate and to understand what is the real risk that we can allocate in each party. And of course, we have to demonstrate that we have enough operation and maintenance skills, tools, in order to give enough comfort that we are going to be able to manage that supply in a flexible way in order to adapt that supply to the mine needs. So, what are the alternatives? Of course, for the off-grid mine, we suggested that we have a real challenge regarding the live mine. But I think that it's a matter of also of understanding the real life of the mine and trying to explain to the lenders the real risk during the mine closure and which are the alternatives in order to reduce that risk and to engage the banks or the lenders in order to change a little bit the mindset and think about advanced deals in order to make it possible. So I agree that we are going to see maybe the first short-term deals based on these new approaches, and we can see a domino effect, as we have seen in the on-grid PPAs market in the United States, for example, when 5 years ago basis risk was a taboo, and now we are entering those deals, and lenders are more comfortable with that kind of PPAs in which we are sharing the risk in a different way. For the on-grid mines, these on-site off-grid plants connected to a mine that is also connected to a grid, of course, we depend a lot on the regulatory scheme. So if we have the possibility of connecting that plant to the grid in case of a default event, we have clear wheeling rules in place, or we have net metering rules. So these behind-the-meter plants could be easily transformed into on-grid plants. We reduce a lot the risk profile so that we can reduce a lot the warranty, reduce a lot the risk perception of the lenders. So there's a lot of work to do regarding those kind of deals. And regarding the common, let's say, off-site, on-grid renewable plants, PPAs, as I have mentioned, we have all the possible structures, physical, financial PPAs, fixed prices, variable prices, collar structure, tracking accounts, indexation to commodity prices, to the regulated tariff, to the spot. So even with embedded exchange rate hedges. So we are open to discuss that structure that is better for both parties. So the conclusion is the key is a proper risk allocation, but always ensuring the project bankability. That is the main target. And just to finalize, regarding how to approach this within a competitive process, maybe launched by the mining company, just to point out one very important idea from our side. We are participating in a lot of RFPs, private tenders, all over the world. And according to our experience, it's very important to engage and to put together a working group, together the IPP and the off-taker, in order to analyze the synergies and the improvement. And this is not a linear process. This is an iterative process. So each time we change a commercial term and we reallocate the risk or define a new structure, maybe we can reduce the capital cost, and maybe we can improve a technical aspect of the project, impacting that risk, changing the risk profile again, and then having an advantage in terms of price. So this iterative process is key in order to achieve the optimal relationship between price and risk. So when we see some negotiations, some processes, mainly with other sectors like automotive or food and beverage, in which some off-takers want to fix the price first, and then they want to negotiate the rest of the commercial terms. So at the end, it's a very tough situation because we are not able to reduce price because the risk was fixed at the moment of fixing that price. And those changes in the commercial terms are not feasible at the end of the day. So we spend a lot of time and a lot of wasted effort in order to try to make the circle or the square circle. So from our perspective, this kind of approach of these cross-functional working groups between the IPP and the mining company, putting together the engineers for the technical part, understanding properly the nature of the land, the interconnection, the electrical network, all the technical aspect of the project, and also put in place another cross-functional working group with the finance guys, with the commercial department, with the lenders, in order to analyze that balance between, and that trade-off between risk and price, is the best way to approach and is a time-saving tool. So at the end, we have to say that we are pretty interested in the mining sector. We are, let's say, new regarding these supplies for mines, but we're pretty focused on that because we, of course, understand that your sector is one of the most important sector and has a very important role to play in this renewable transition. So we are at your disposal as a global player, IPP, and we're pretty happy to be sponsors of this very important event, and we expect to participate in the next one next year. So thank you very much. Some conclusions there. Just the final idea. It's key to understand each other's business. So we don't know so much about mining, but it's key to understand your processes, your supply strategies, your risk aversion in order to give you the best PPA ever. So thank you very much, and it's a pleasure.